This video focuses on reflections, compressions, and stretches horizontally and vertically. This first example is a transformation of a reflection about the y-axis. So here's our y-axis, and we want to reflect it. So imagine drawing a vertical line along the y-axis and folding this blue function along the green line. What happens then is it becomes the same function. So there's no change in what the graph looks like. So the vertex is still 0, 0 in this function. But the equation does change. For reflection about the y-axis, there is a negative inside the function, inside that absolute value. So notice the difference from here to there. There's a negative inside the function. This next example I would say you probably should write down. Then now it's a reflection about the x-axis. So that's your horizontal axis. If you create a horizontal line and you reflect it, what happens is this V flips direction going down. The origin is still the critical point, 0, 0, but now my negative is in front of the function. Notice again the difference between the two functions. Now we have a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Vertical stretch by a factor of 3. So we're changing the vertical axes, that y-axis. So you're multiplying all y values by 3, a factor of 3. So if we look at this blue parent function, if this first order pair is 1, 1, and we want to change it to a stretch of 3, we're going to change the y value to 1, 3. If we look at the second order pair, 2, 2, and we want to change it with the transformation, we would change that y value 2 times 3, which is 6. So now notice what this graph looks like. 0, 0 is still the same, but now my next order pair is over 1, up 3. The next order pair over 2, up 6. And I'll continue on. We do have symmetry, so now this point and this point near each other along the y-axis. So now my new function with the stretch is in the red. Stretches occur, the scale factor in front of the function, so it's a multiplier. The vertex has not changed at all. The last example, I put a couple extra notes in here for you. Be careful on these. This is now a horizontal. So we're changing the x-axis, and it's a factor of 1/2. Think of multiplying the x values by 1/2, but when you write it as an equation, you have to flip the 1/2 so it becomes a 2 in the equation. The vertex will still be the same. So now let's go ahead and graph this order pair set. So let's talk about 1, 1 and 2, 2. What would be the difference here? We're changing the x values by 1/2. So the first order pair would be 0.5, 1, and then the second one, 2 times 1/2 would be 1, 2. So if we graph those, in red, over 1/2, up 1, over 1, up 2. And that's how you create that horizontal compression by 1/2.